River. Jude Phoenix was an American actor, musician and activist. He is the older brother of Rain Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix, Summer Phoenix and Liberty Phoenix. Phoenix's work encompassed 24 films and television appearances, including the science fiction adventure film Explorers, the coming-of-age film Stand By Me, the action sequel Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and the independent adult drama My Own Private Idaho. Phoenix's meteoric rise to fame led to his status as a teen sensation. Phoenix began acting at age 10 in television commercials. He appeared in diverse roles, making his first notable appearance in the 1986 film Stand By Me, a hugely popular coming-of-age film based on a novella by Stephen King. Phoenix made a transition into more adult-oriented roles with Running on Empty, playing the son of fugitive parents in a well-received performance that earned him a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, and My Own Private Idaho, playing a gay hustler in search of his estranged mother. For his performance in the latter, Phoenix garnered enormous praise and won a Volpi Cup for Best Actor at the Venice Film Festival, along with Best Actor from the National Society of Film Critics. On October 31, 1993, Phoenix collapsed and died of drug-induced heart failure on the sidewalk outside the West Hollywood nightclub The Viper Room, at the age of 23. At the time of his death, Phoenix had been in the middle of filming Dark Blood. Early life: Phoenix was born River Jude Bottom on August 23, 1970, in Metelius, Oregon, the first child of Arlen Sharon Dunetz and John Lee Bottom. Phoenix's parents named him after the River of Life from the Herman Hesse novel Siddhartha, and he received his middle name from the Beatles' song Hey Jude. In an interview with People, Phoenix described his parents as hippie-ish. His mother was born in the Bronx, New York, to Jewish parents whose families had emigrated from Russia and Hungary. His father was a lapsed Catholic from Fontana, California, who has English, as well as German and French, ancestry. In 1968, Phoenix's mother left her family in New York City and traveled across the United States, meeting John Lee Bottom while hitchhiking in Northern California. They married on September 13, 1969, less than a year after meeting. While living in Crockett, Texas, their second child, Rain Joan of Arc Bottom, was born on November 21, 1972. In 1973, the family joined a controversial Christian new religious movement called the Children of God as missionaries. Their third child, Joaquin Raphael Bottom, was born on October 28, 1974, in San Juan, Puerto Rico. The family had settled in Caracas, Venezuela, where the Children of God had stationed them to work as missionaries and fruit gatherers. Although John Bottom was later designated the group's Archbishop of Venezuela and the Caribbean, their family received no financial support and lived in poverty. Phoenix reflected later in life that the missionary work was undertaken not out of choice, but was more like a desperate situation. On July 5, 1976, Phoenix's sister Libertad Mariposa Bottom was born. Phoenix often played guitar while he and Rain sang on street corners for money and food to support their ever-growing family. Allen and John eventually grew disillusioned with the Children of God. Allen would later tell a journalist that she and her husband were opposed to the group's practice of flirty fishing, stating, "The group was being distorted by the leader, David Berg, who was getting powerful and wealthy. He sought to attract rich disciples through sex. No way." Fearing the group was moving in a negative direction, the Bottom family left and stayed for a period with a church in Venezuela. It was during the last years in South America that the entire Phoenix family converted to veganism. The family eventually made the trip back to the United States by a cargo ship. Upon their return, they moved in with Phoenix's maternal grandparents in Florida. On December 10, 1978, Summer Joy Bottom was born in Winter Park, Florida. On April 2, 1979, the family officially changed their name to Phoenix, after the mythical bird that rises from its own ashes, symbolizing a new beginning. Phoenix never attended formal school. Screenwriter Naomi Fner later recalled being stunned by what Phoenix didn't know. "He was totally without education. I mean, He could read and write, and he had an appetite for it, but he had no deep roots into any kind of sense of history or literature. Acting career. Back in the United States, Eileen began working as a secretary for an NBC broadcaster and John as an exteriors architect. Top Kids agent Iris Burton spotted River, Joaquin and their sisters Summer and Rain singing for Spare Change in Westwood, Los Angeles, and was so charmed by the family that she soon represented the four siblings. River started doing some commercials for Mitsubishi, Ocean Spray and Saks Fifth Avenue, and soon afterward he and the other children were signed by casting director Penny Marshall from Paramount Pictures. River and Rain were assigned immediately to a show called Real Kids as warm-up performers for the audience. In 1980, Phoenix began to fully pursue his work as an actor, making his first appearance on a TV show called Fantasy Singing with his sister Rain. In 1982, River was cast in the short-lived CBS television series, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, in which he starred as the youngest brother, Guthrie McFadden. River, who arrived at the auditions with his guitar, promptly burst into a convincing Elvis Presley impersonation, charming the show producer. By this age, Phoenix was also an accomplished tap dancer. Almost a year after Seven Brides ended in 1983, Phoenix found a new role in the 1984 television movie Celebrity, where he played the part of young Jeffy Crawford. Although he was only on screen for about 10 minutes, his character was central. Less than a month after Celebrity came the ABC after-school special, Backwards: The Riddle of Dyslexia. River starred as a young boy who discovers he has dyslexia. Joaquin starred in a small role alongside his brother. In September, the pilot episode of the short-lived TV series It's Your Move Ed. Phoenix was cast as Brian and only had one line of dialogue. He also starred as Robert Kennedy's son, Robert Kennedy, Jr. in the TV movie Robert Kennedy and His Times. After his role in Dyslexia was critically acclaimed, Phoenix was almost immediately cast as a major role in his next made-for-TV movie, Surviving, A Family in Crisis. He starred as Philip Brogan alongside Molly Ringwald and Heather Irk. Halfway during the filming of Surviving, Iris Burton contacted him about a possible role in the film Explorers. In October 1984, Phoenix secured the role of geeky boy scientist Wolfgang Ma One-Quarter-Layer in Joe Dante's large-budget science fiction film Explorers alongside Ethan Hawke, and production began soon after. Released in the summer of 1985, this was Phoenix's first major motion picture role. In October 1986, Phoenix co-starred alongside Tuesday Weld and Geraldine Fitzgerald in the acclaimed CBS television movie Circle of Violence, a family drama, which told the tragic story of domestic elder abuse. This was Phoenix's last television role before achieving film stardom. At the age of 15, Phoenix had a significant role in Rob Reiner's popular coming-of-age film Stand By Me, which made him a household name. The Washington Post opined that Phoenix gave the film its center of gravity. Phoenix commented, "The truth is, I identified so much with the role of Chris Chambers that if I hadn't had my family to go back to after the shoot, I'd have probably had to see a psychiatrist." Later that year, Phoenix completed Peter Weir's The Mosquito Coast, playing the son of Harrison Ford's character. "He was obviously going to be a movie star," observed Weir. "It's something apart from acting ability." Laurence Olivier never had what River had. During the 5-month shoot in Belize, Phoenix began a romance with his co-star Martha Plimpton, a relationship which continued in some form for many years. Phoenix was surprised by the poor reception for the film, feeling more secure about his work in it than he had in Stand By Me. Phoenix was next cast as the lead in the teen comedy drama A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon, but was disappointed with his performance. "It didn't turn out the way I thought it would, and I put the blame on myself. I wanted to do a comedy, and it was definitely a stretch, but I'm not sure I was even the right person for the role." In 1988, Phoenix starred in Little Nikita alongside Sidney Poitier. During this time, the Phoenix family continued to move on a regular basis, and had moved over 40 times by the time Phoenix was 18. After completing his 6th feature film, Sidney Lumet's Running on Empty, Phoenix purchased his family a ranch in Micanopy, Florida, near Gainesville in 1987, in addition to a spread in Costa Rica. In early 1989, Phoenix was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, and received the Best Supporting Actor honor from the National Board of Review for his role in Running on Empty. Phoenix jumped to his feet during the ceremony when Kevin Kline beat him for the Oscar. "I had to stop River from running to hug Kevin," recalled his mother Arlen. It never crossed his mind that he hadn't won. That year he also portrayed a young Indiana Jones in the box office hit Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, directed by Steven Spielberg. In 1990, Phoenix was photographed by Bruce Weber for Vogue and was spokesperson for a campaign for Gap. In 1991, Phoenix filmed an acclaimed independent picture called Dogfight, co-starring Lili Taylor and directed by Nancy Savoca. In the romantic coming-of-age drama set in San Francisco, Phoenix portrayed a young U.S. Marine on the night before he was shipped off to Vietnam in November 1963. Taylor remarked that Phoenix suffered not being able to distance himself from his character. He also had an unregistered trademark tea gotten into any drugs he was just drinking then too. It was different. That was actually a hard part for him, because it was so radically different from who he was. He was such a hippie, and here he was playing this Marine. It actually caused him a lot of discomfort. I don't think he enjoyed that, actually, getting into that psyche. Phoenix met actor Keanu Reeves while Reeves was filming Parenthood with Phoenix's brother, Joaquin. The two starred together for the first time in 1990's I Love You to Death and again in Gus Van Sant's avant-garde film My Own Private Idaho. In his review for Newsweek, David Ansen praised Phoenix's performance. The campfire scene in which Mike awkwardly declares his unrequited love for Scott is a marvel of delicacy. In this, and every scene, Phoenix immerses himself so deeply inside his character you almost forget you've seen him before. It's a stunningly sensitive performance, poignant and comic at once. For his role in My Own Private Idaho, Phoenix won Best Actor honors at the Venice Film Festival, the National Society of Film Critics and the Independent Spirit Awards. The film and its success solidified Phoenix's image as an actor with edgy, leading man potential. In that period Phoenix was beginning to make use of drugs like marijuana, cocaine and heroin with some friends. In the book Gus Van Sant wrote about Phoenix, Pink, the director said clearly that Phoenix was not a regular drug user but only occasionally, and that the actor had a more serious problem with alcohol. Phoenix had always tried to hide his addictions because he feared that they might ruin his career as they did his relationship with Martha Plimpton. Phoenix teamed up with Robert Redford and again with Sidney Poitier for the conspiracy espionage thriller Sneakers. A month later he began production on Sam Shepard's art house ghost western Silent Tongue. He also was beaten out for the role of Paul by Brad Pitt in A River Runs Through It. He made a cameo appearance in Van Sant's Even Cowgirls Get the Blues co-starring his sister Rain. Phoenix then starred in Peter Bogdanovich's country music-themed film, The Thing Called Love, the last completed picture before his death. Phoenix began a relationship with co-star Samantha Mathis on the set. Music. Although Phoenix's movie career was generating most of the income for his family, it has been stated by close friends and relatives that his true passion was music. Phoenix was a singer, songwriter, and an accomplished guitarist. He had begun teaching himself guitar at the age of 5 and had stated in an interview for E! In 1988 that his family's move to Los Angeles when he was 9 was made so that he and his sister A could become recording artists. I fell into commercials for financial reasons and acting became an attractive conceptor. Prior to securing an acting agent, Phoenix and his siblings tried to forge a career in music by playing cover versions on the streets of the Westwood district of LA, often being moved along by police because gathering crowds would obstruct the pavement. With the first fruits of his film success, Phoenix saved $650 for his prized possession, a guitar on which he wrote what he described as progressive, ethereal folk rock. While working on A Night in the Life of Jimmy Reardon in 1986, Phoenix had written and recorded a song, Hard to Get, specifically for the end credits of the movie. 20th Century Fox cut it from the completed film, but director William Richert put it back into place for his director's cut some years later. It was during filming that Phoenix met Chris Blackwell of Island Records. This meeting would later secure Phoenix a 2-year development deal with the label. Phoenix disliked the idea of being a solo artist and relished collaboration. Therefore he focused on putting together a band. Alakazattik performed in 1987 and the lineup included his sister Rain. Phoenix was committed to gaining credibility by his own merit and maintained that the band would not use his name when securing performances that were not benefits for charitable organizations. Phoenix's first release was Across the Way, co-written with bandmate Josh McKay, which was released in 1989 on a benefit album for PETA titled Tame Yourself. In 1991, Phoenix wrote and recorded a spoken-word piece called Curie Curie for Milton Nascimento's album TXAI. Also in 1991 the Alakazattik track Too Many Colors was lent to the soundtrack of Gus Van Sant's My Own Private Idaho, which included Phoenix in a starring role. In 1996, the Alakazattik track Note to a Friend was released on the 1996 benefit album In Defense of Animals. Volume 2 and featured Flea of Red Hot Chili Peppers on bass. Phoenix had collaborated with friend John Frusciante after his first departure from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the songs Height Down and Well I've Been were released on Frusciante's second solo album Smile from the Streets You Hold in 1997. Phoenix was an investor in the original House of Blues in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which opened its doors to the public after serving a group of homeless people on Thanksgiving Day 1992. Activism. Phoenix was a dedicated animal rights, environmental and political activist. He was a prominent spokesperson for PETA and won their Humanitarian Award in 1992 for his fundraising efforts. In 1990, Phoenix wrote an environmental awareness essay about Earth Day targeted at his young fanbase, which was printed in 17 magazine. Phoenix was a lifelong vegan. His first girlfriend Martha Plimpton recalled, "Once when we were 15, River and I went out for a fancy dinner in Manhattan, and I ordered soft-shell crabs. He left the restaurant and walked around on Park Avenue, crying. I went out and he said, 'I love you so much, why?' He had such pain that I was eating an animal, that he hadn't impressed on me what was right." He financially aided a great many environmental and humanitarian organizations, and bought 800 acres of endangered rainforest in Costa Rica. As well as giving speeches at rallies for various groups, Phoenix and his band often played environmental benefits for well-known charities as well as local ones in the Gainesville, Florida area. Death. On the evening of October 30, 1993, Phoenix was to perform with his close friend Michael "Flea" Boldseri from the Red Hot Chili Peppers on stage at the Viper Room, a Hollywood nightclub partly owned at the time by actor Johnny Depp. Phoenix had returned to Los Angeles early that week from Utah to complete the 3 weeks of interior shots left on his last project Dark Blood, a film that was finally completed in 2012. His younger sister Rain and brother Joaquin had flown out to join him at the Hotel Nico on La Cienega Boulevard. Phoenix's girlfriend, Samantha Mathis, had also come to meet him. All were present at the scene of Phoenix's death. During the early morning hours of October 31, 1993, Phoenix collapsed outside and convulsed for over 5 minutes. When his brother Joaquin called 911, he was unable to determine whether Phoenix was breathing. His sister Rain proceeded to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. During the episode, Johnny Depp and his band P were on stage. According to Haynes, the band was in the middle of their song Michael Stipe while Phoenix was outside the venue having seizures on the sidewalk. When the news filtered through the club, Flea left the stage and rushed outside. By that time, paramedics had arrived on the scene and found Phoenix turning dark blue, in full cardiac arrest and in a flatline state. They administered medication in an attempt to restart his heart. He was rushed to the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, accompanied by Flea, via an ambulance. Further attempts to resuscitate Phoenix were unsuccessful. He was pronounced dead at 1:51 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the morning of October 31, 1993, at the age of 23. The following day the club became a makeshift shrine with fans and mourners leaving flowers, pictures and candles on the sidewalk and graffiti messages on the walls of the venue. A sign was placed in the window that read, "With much respect and love to River and his family, the Viper Room is temporarily closed. Our heartfelt condolences to all his family, friends and loved ones. He will be missed." The club remained closed for a week. Depp continued to close the club every year on October 31 until selling his share in 2004. Prior to his death, Phoenix's image (1) he bemoaned in interviews had been squeaky clean, owing in part to his public dedication to his various social, political, humanitarian, and dietary interests not always popular in the 1980s. As a result, his death elicited a vast amount of coverage from the media. Phoenix was described by one writer as the vegan James Dean, and comparisons were made regarding the youth and sudden deaths of both actors. Phoenix's autopsy, signed November 15, 1993, reads as follows in the section entitled Opinion by Christopher Rogers. Maryland, toxicology studies showed high concentrations of morphine and cocaine in the blood, as well as other substances in smaller concentrations. The cause of death was acute multiple drug intoxication, including cocaine and morphine. Joaquin's call to 911 was recorded and broadcast by several radio and TV shows. Following the death of River and the invasive, disrespectful attitude of the media in his private life, Joaquin walked away from Hollywood for the second time. On November 24, 1993, Eileen Hart Phoenix published an open letter in the Los Angeles Times on her son's life and death. It read, in part, Phoenix was cremated and his ashes were scattered at his family ranch in Micanopy, Florida. Following his death, Alakazattic disbanded. Unreleased film projects. River's sudden death prevented him from playing various roles for which he had already been cast. Phoenix was due to begin work on Neil Jordan's Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Chronicles 2 weeks after his death. He was to play Daniel Molloy, the interviewer, which then went to Christian Slater, who donated his entire $250,000 salary to two of Phoenix's favorite charitable organizations, Earth Save and Earth Trust. The film has a dedication to Phoenix after the end credits. The Guardian suggested in 2003 it was likely that Phoenix would have followed Interview with the Vampire by appearing as Susan Sarandon's son in Safe Passage, a role that went to Sean Astin. Phoenix had signed on to the lead role in Broken Dreams, a screenplay written by John Boorman and Neil Jordan, and co-starring Winona Ryder. The film was put on hold due to Phoenix's death. In June 2012, it was announced that Caleb Landry Jones had been cast in the role. Gus Van Sant had gotten Phoenix to agree to play the role of Cleve Jones in Milk when he was originally planning on making the movie in the early 1990s. The role was eventually played by Emile Hirsch in 2008. When asked in Interval magazine, "You were going to do a movie with River about Andy Warhol, right?" Van Sant said, "Yeah. River kind of looked like Andy in his younger days. But that project never really went forward." In 1988, Phoenix was reportedly carrying around a copy of the 1978 memoir The Basketball Diaries. He had heard a movie version was in the works and wanted to play the autobiographical role of Jim Carroll. A film was sent into hiatus on numerous occasions with Phoenix being cited as the main contender for the role each time. The Basketball Diaries was made in 1994 with Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead. He had expressed interest in playing the 19th-century poet Arthur Rimbaud in Total Eclipse by Polish director Ansgar Holland. Phoenix died before the movie was cast, with the role eventually going to Leonardo DiCaprio. References in popular culture. Phoenix's status as a teen idol and promising young actor, and his subsequent premature death, made him a frequent subject in popular culture media. He first gained references in music with Brazilian singer Milton Nascimento writing the song River Phoenix, letter to a young actor about him after having seen Phoenix in the Mosquito Coast. The song appears on the 1989 release Milton's. Phoenix's friends, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, wrote a few lines for him in the song Give It Away from the 1991 album Blood Sugar Sex Maggot. "There's a river born to be a giver, keep you warm won't let you shiver, his heart is never gonna wither. Phoenix has been the subject of numerous tributes in song and other media. The band R.E.M. dedicated their album Monster to Phoenix, and their song E-Bow the Letter from 1996's New Adventures in Hi-Fi is said to have been written from a letter Michael Stipe wrote to Phoenix but never sent because of the actor's death. River Phoenix is referenced in the song, Sacred Life, from the eponymous album by the British band, The Cult. River Phoenix was so young, don't you know your prince has gone? X-10,000 Maniac singer Natalie Merchant wrote and recorded a memorably controversial song, simply named River, featured on her 1995 solo album Tiger Lily. While she deplores this tragic death of a young and strong Hollywood son, who was one of ours, she criticizes strongly the excesses of the People's Vulture's candor, and the media's greedy attention to the event and adds, "Why don't you let him be give his father and his mother peace," as well as, "It's only a tragedy," ending with the real question behind it, how could we save him from himself? Thus she went far beyond the straight eulogy that most songs and writings about River Phoenix's passing were at the time it happened. Musician Sam Phillips has the dedication for River on her album Martinis and Bikinis. Again, Red Hot Chili Peppers paid tribute with the song Transcending on 1995's One Hot Minute being written about him. Other songs inspired by Phoenix include Dana Leon's song for River Phoenix, Grant Lee Buffalo's Halloween, Ellis Paul's song River, found on his 1994 release Stories, Rufus Wainwright's Matinee Idol, Nada Surf's River Phoenix, and Stereophonics's Chris Chambers. In her 1996 album Woman and a Man, Belinda Carlisle referenced River in the song California. The song opens and closes with the line, "I remember I was in a tanning salon, when I heard that River Phoenix was gone." In Jay-Z's album, Kingdom Come, the lyrics of Hollywood list him as one of the many fatalities of the pressures of Hollywood. New York band Japantha featured a song on their album Scuffed Up My Huffy entitled River Phoenix, which is about certain events in his life and delivers the chorus River Phoenix didn't mean it. In the song The Viper Room, Wesley Willis takes an abrupt turn from an otherwise glowing account of the club by noting Phoenix's death, stating that he collapsed and died like a Doberman. On his 2013 album Not Thinking Straight, British recording artist Matt Fischel referenced Phoenix in the song, When Boy Meets Boy. Its lyrics portray a bedroom in which the walls are covered in posters of idols and rock stars who had died too young, and the song's third verse contains the line "I pay tribute" with a little wink to River Phoenix hanging on the wall. In the song's accompanying music video, an animated poster of Phoenix hangs on a wall next to Jimi Hendrix, Freddie Mercury and Kurt Cobain. Gus Van Sant, with whom Phoenix worked in the film My Own Private Idaho, dedicated his 1994 movie Even Cowgirls Get the Blues as well as his 1997 novel Pink to him. Experimental Santa Cruz filmmaker Cam Archer also produced a documentary called Drowning River Phoenix as part of his American Fame series. During performances on November 13 and November 15, 1993, and February 12, 1994, and one of Nirvana's last USA shows in Seattle on January 7, 1994, Kurt Cobain of Nirvana dedicated the song Jesus Doesn't Want Me for a Sunbeam to Phoenix, just a few months before Cobain's death. Tom Petty dedicated Ballad of Easy Rider to Phoenix when he played in his and Phoenix's hometown of Gainesville, Florida in November 1993. The British band Manic Street Preachers mentions River in their song If It America told that Rutherford Eats World would fall apart in the following line. I'm thinking right now of Hollywood tragedy. Big Mac. Smack. Phoenix, Please smile y'all. Phoenix was the subject of a controversial song by Australian group TISM titled, He'll Never Be An Old Man River. The single originally featured a mock-up of Phoenix's tombstone as its cover art in 1995. The chorus features the line, I'm on the drug that killed River Phoenix. On the song Love Me, Hate Me by rapper Ja Rule, he enumerates different ways he could die as a celebrity, and one of the lyrics says I might OD in a club off drugs like River Phoenix. In the 1997 musical, The Fix, Phoenix is alluded to in the song Mistress of Deception in the lines, Hot young actor died last night at an LA club. Ecstasy and booze and too much NyQuil had the sweetest face, warm and shy and innocent, sexy in that careless kinda way. The newsman said his heart just stopped like that. The Hugh Cornwell song Rain on the River from his 2009 album Hoover Dam is directly about the death of Phoenix, as his sister Rain sits over her dying brother on the sidewalk outside the Viper Room. A lesser-known reference to River Phoenix was Final Fantasy VIII's main protagonist Squall Lenhart. Tetsuya Nomura, the lead character designer for the game, stated he modeled Squall on River's visage during development, and even gave Squall the same birth date. The scene of Phoenix's death also merits several mentions in William Gibson's book Spook Country. John Frusciante dedicated the song Smile from the Streets You Hold to River Phoenix. As a matter of fact, Frusciante wrote the first part of the song about their friendship while Phoenix was still alive, and after Phoenix's passing he wrote the second part for his memory. Honors and rankings. Phoenix has been ranked numerous times on a number of lists recognizing his talent and career. He was listed as one of 12 promising new actors of 1986 in John Willis' Screen World. Phoenix was voted at number 64 on a Greatest Movie Stars of All Time poll by Channel 4 Television in the UK. The poll was made up wholly of votes from prominent figures of the acting and directing communities. He was ranked number 86 in Empire magazine's The Top 100 Movie Stars of All Time list in 1997. His life and death has been the subject of an E! True Hollywood Story, an A&E biography and an episode of Final 24, which contains a dramatic reconstruction of his final hours and death. He was also referred to as this century's James Dean in episode 10 of the first season of Being Erica. His death was listed as number 16 in the top 101 events in E! Television's 101 Most Shocking Moments in Entertainment. In 2010, Phoenix was voted by GQ magazine as one of the 50 most stylish men of the past half-century. Filmography, film, television. Further reading, Edwards, Gavin. Last Night at the Viper Room, River Phoenix and the Hollywood He Left Behind. ISBN 0062273159. Glatt, John. Lost in Hollywood, The Fast Times and Short Life of River Phoenix. ISBN A1-55611-440-0. Fuchs, Maxim W. The Death Proclamation of Generation X, A Self-Fulfilling Prophecy of Goth, Grunge and Heroin. ISBN A978-0-595-46319-0. Lawrence, Barry C. In Search of River Phoenix, The Truth Behind the Myth. ISBN A0-9672491-9-8. Robb, Brian J. River Phoenix, A Short Life. ISBN A0-06-095132-X. References. External links, River Phoenix at the Internet Movie Database, River Phoenix at AllMovie, The Lost Boy, The Legacy of River Phoenix at Find a Grave.